Well, it's so great to meet you. Yeah, I saw your email or your review on our website and I thought it was amazing. And we always love reaching out and chatting face to face, obviously, as best we can with customers, learn more about your guys' story, and yours and Inka's really stood out to me. And so I'd really just love to have a casual conversation and ask you some questions if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, can you tell me a little bit about like when you got Inka, how long you've had her, like just a little bit of your guys' story?
I am really active in rescue and I do a lot of fostering also. I have a friend that has a rescue in Wisconsin. And so a lot of times we take our dogs and we put them on transport up to her. So Inka, Inka's half pit, half lab. And so she's, she's kind of a nondescript kind of dog. She was at our local Humane Society and it's a kill shelter and she was there for 320 days, which is crazy. But the thing is that they just loved her and they kept pushing her off the youth list. They didn't want that to happen. So she was adopted out. And then several months later, they found her abandoned under a building with 3 puppies. And so they brought them back to the shelter and they were overcrowded and they had her in the office there with the babies and they asked for someone to take them on and foster because the babies were just very, very young, just like 2 weeks old. And they were afraid to have them in the, not a good place for them to be in the shelter. So I agreed to take them all on as foster. And then I sent the 3 babies on to my friend and Inka was supposed to go, but she ended up being a little bit dog selective. And probably from the time she was on her own with the puppies and who knows how long she was out there. So I just ended up keeping her. So I've had her about a year and a half. She came back to the shelter with a skin condition. That was one of the things they said when I picked her up. We have found her, but she's back with puppies and a skin condition. And wasn't too much of a problem right at first. I don't know the physiology of a dog, but whether having the puppies made a difference. But after they left, it got really bad. She came back with missing fur and stuff, but the allergy and the itching and the scratching and the ear infections and all that started after the puppies left, probably a couple months.
Wow. And so you just listed off some of what she was experiencing, but ear infections, skin loss or hair loss, on the skin and stuff. What were kind of like the main symptoms that she was seeing?
The main things were her skin was bumpy, like it had little pustule kind of things to it. And she just was incessant scratching, so that she was getting herself scabs. And I'm a widow. And right now I have 4 dogs, which is not very many for me. And they all sleep in bed with me. And so with Inka, none of us were getting any rest because she's just so awful. And I felt badly for her because she really is a very sweet dog, but she was miserable. Just miserable. And so we all were miserable because no one was getting any rest.
We hear that all the time, whether it's paw licking or itching or whatever it might be. Obviously, you feel terrible for your dog and you want your dog to feel better, but also you're like, oh my gosh, this is really disrupting things, in the household too. And so there's a lot of reasons why people want to, get those symptoms under control and everything. So that's definitely something that we hear pretty often. So what did you do? I know like some of your review said that medications maybe was like the first route that you took. Like what has the journey looked like for trying to get those symptoms under control?
So first of all, I started with other over-the-counter things like Dinovite, Fin. I couldn't even tell you all of them, but different things that I tried thinking that would help. Salmon oil, all kinds of things that they say would work. Then I took her to my vet. I have a really good relationship with my vet. I've been going to the same vet for like 35 years. And they started her on Apoquel, and that helped for a little bit, but not well. And so they went from Apoquel to Cytopoint injections, which helped for a while, but it was getting much more increase in cost too, because they also put her on Science Diet Derm Complete food, which is supposed to be good for allergies. And so when the Cytopoint injections weren't lasting the month, they put her on Atopica. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And that was effective, but it's $200 a month for her to have it every single day, plus $100 for the food. She's one of 4. I'm retired. I live on Social Security. And I will do anything for my dogs eat before I do, but it was getting difficult. And then the ear infections were constant and we'd get it cleared up. And they would say, I'm sure it's the same thing, but you need to bring her back in before we'll give you a refill on the prescription. And I didn't want her on it constantly, but I couldn't afford, they're a great vet, but they're the most expensive vet in town. And it was like $100 and some odd every time I took her in just to have them say, yep, you need more. So it just was starting to get better, but it wasn't sustainable for me. And like I said, I have 4 dogs and the other 3 are all geriatric dogs that have their own myriad of issues. So one night when we weren't sleeping, sleeping and she was scratching in the middle of the night. I was perusing Facebook, as you do, and I came across Winpro, and it really stood out to me because it talked about the plasma, and everything else had not said anything about that. Everything else talked about the same things. And when you go up online and you look to see what's available, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there, but Winpro sounded different, and it sounded like something we hadn't talked about, something I hadn't researched, something I didn't know about. And I'm not particularly knowledgeable, but I do some research. So really, it was almost on a whim. It was like, nothing else is working. I'm going to try this. And oh my gosh, I read the reviews, and it's like, in a few days, my dog was better. And I thought, yeah, right. I mean, that just doesn't happen. I just don't see that. And having been in rescue for 15 years, I've dealt with a lot of dogs with issues, and things just don't happen that quickly, but it really did. And so I found that the Atopica, instead of having to give it to her every day, I could start giving it every other day and every third day. And to be honest, she is still on it because I still have some, and I figure it can't hurt, but I want to get her off it. I don't want her on that kind of medication at that kind of cost forever. And it seems like this is just, I mean, it's changed her whole life. Her coat is glossy and beautiful. The hair is actually starting to come back. She's sleeping. She doesn't have ear infections. She's like a different dog. And we're only not even through our first tin, bottle, jar, whatever. And so it's truly almost miraculous. And so I don't usually do reviews, but I was so blown away. And I've told everybody I know that has dogs with this issue, you've got to try this. I know you've tried everything else, but this really works.
I don't think I could ask for a better overview of an experience with a product. And it's incredible. I mean, that's why we do what we do. And that's why I love working for Winpro Pet. And I love, sharing those stories, because dogs are so important to us in our lives. They're our family members. And when they're suffering, it's really important to sit through that. And then when you find something that makes a massive difference, I mean, it is incredible. And I'm just so glad that Inka had that experience with our product.
She's just had, kind of a rough life because she was abandoned and she had problems, and then she had the babies, and that caused a whole big brouhaha in our town because they're like, how did she get adopted out without being spayed? And it's like, well, it doesn't really matter. They're here now, and we need to just go on from here. But so she kind of was this pariah. She's great with my dogs, and I dog sit, and I have other dogs, but that occasional dog she will react to. And in fairness, in rescue, I mean, we have such a problem down here with so many unwanted dogs, and there are so many great dogs with no problems that need to go, that they have to be selective and say, if we can't take a chance on a dog that might be a problem. And I understood that. So I realized that she was going to stay with me. So I was like, this poor girl, nobody wants her. She's miserable. Everything's terrible. And this has just changed her life. And as a result, all of our lives. My dogs mean the world to me. I do have 2 boys that are grown, but after my husband died, they are what got me through, and I would do anything for them. And so just to find y'all, you do get kind of jaded. It's like, I don't want to try another one because I've done all these and it doesn't work. But when I read about that, it just sounded different. And so your marketing is good because it really does stand out. And I'm just so grateful, just so grateful.
That's amazing. Yeah, my job's easy too, because we have something truly unique. I don't have to try to create something that's unique in the message because the science speaks for itself, right? And like you said, the plasma stands out and it's something that's different. We're the only supplement line that has plasma in it. It's a kind of an interesting ingredient to include in formulations. You need a lot of experience. You need a lot of, work to kind of put that together. And it's just like it's a miraculous ingredient. The more that you learn about it and the more that you research it. And the research started in like the 1980s at Iowa State University with weaning baby piglets. They were dying like crazy and had really high mortality rates because of the stress of, weaning them. And then they started introducing the spray dried plasma, and it was like incredible how many more were surviving the process and thriving. And then, it went into workhorses and a bunch of stuff. And then we brought it into the canine world, and our founder that brought that science over and kind of interacted with it just found something really unique and really incredible. And it's amazing that it's natural and it's safe, and it's something that like people feel much more comfortable giving to their animals versus some of the stuff that is trying to get their system to work in a different way, whereas plasma kind of helps their system work better the way that it's supposed to.
It comes with costs beyond the prescriptions too, because you have to keep going back in, and you have to, to have something that's over the counter that's so effective for people that are on a budget like I am. I mean, that's huge in and of itself, because I'm sure there are other things that work. And I'm sure if she stays on this Atopica, it will help her. But number one is putting chemicals in her body that I'm not real sure I want, because I don't think we know long term. And every time to get a refill, it's going to cost me several $100s to take her in. And I know it isn't about the money, but it is about the money too. That has to factor into it for senior citizens like me, because there just is a finite amount of money to go around. And like I said, I have 4 and 3 are geriatric. And I was actually up on the site earlier today looking at the other stuff that you have, because I have, I know there are with the joint supplement and other things. I mean, I can just see this branching out. So
yeah,
I'm just really excited. Just really telling everybody and telling my vet and telling them, if nothing else, if it's not working and they're open to it, have them try this.
Thank you so much for sharing our story, for advocating for WinPro and stuff like that too with people that are in your circle. We always are so thankful for that and really appreciate it. And the thing that shows that we stand behind our products too is that we offer 100% money back guarantee. So it's like, if it doesn't work, email us and we'll give you a full refund. We can understand, like you said, you get kind of jaded. You try so many things that don't work. You don't have an unlimited amount of funds to keep trying new stuff. And so it can make you a little nervous, to try something. And so along those lines, when you found WinPro, you saw the plasma, you're like, oh, this is different. This is kind of interesting. Were there any hesitancies you originally had, or anything that you were like, that almost maybe kept you from buying, or were you just in because you were desperate? Like, what were you were there any hesitations?
I was desperate. There's no question. And I felt like it was coming at it from a different angle. And the reviews of people saying, it's funny, in a way, the reviews of people saying it's been a miracle was almost counterproductive, because it almost seemed like, couldn't be that good. Now I'm the one saying it's a miracle. So on the other side now. But as far as costs, it is actually more cost effective than a lot of things that I've tried. Honestly, it's so funny that you texted, because just yesterday I was looking at the budget for August, and I went ahead and I bought 6 jars, cans,
whatever. Canisters, we usually say. Yeah.
Because it's more cost effective to do it that way. She's going to stay on it. And it's like, guys are going to be eating ramen and peanut butter, but we're going to do this because we're going to make this happen for her. So no, I don't think there was really any hesitancy, other than almost that it seemed too good to be true, but it was different. And I wanted to try, and I would do anything for my dogs. It's a miracle thing, but it is. I mean, it really has been life changing.
That's incredible. And I think too, it's good that you noticed that change so quickly with like the itching and stuff like that slowing down, and the ear infections and stuff. You said that you weren't even through a whole canister yet, and you've already seen change. So that's probably what, like 2-3 weeks maybe of usage?
Yeah, but not even that long. I mean, that I would say probably 10 days in.
Wow.
Seeing. I mean, if you only knew the battle that I've been fighting, I'm sure a lot of people have just been this has been going on for over 1.5 years. And I would hate to add up all the vet bills and everything else to get to this point, but I'm just so pleased. Just so pleased.
Oh, that's amazing. It's great too that you see that immediate result where you have confidence to continue, going with the product and using it. And then, like you said, some of the other symptoms, or I guess side effects of the symptoms, take some time, right? Where you're like, okay, the hair is going to be growing back because the irritations and the itching and the licking and scratching and stuff that caused all of that hair loss is at bay, and so then now the hair can grow back and everything. And it's pretty incredible as time continues to go on. And even over the next few weeks, I imagine you'll see that continue getting better for Inka. But she's a beautiful dog, and she kind of had like a special place in my heart too, because I had a dog for 13 years, and she was a lab mix, but she was a lab boxer, they think, but looked like a pit bull kind of because of that like squared off nose. And she had an underbite, which is why they thought boxer, but she looked very similar to Inka when I saw the picture that you posted with your review too. And so I thought, oh my gosh, that looks like my Tessa, and stuff. So I loved the review for so many reasons.
When we thought she was going on rescue, they had me do one of those tests, which, I guess are as good as whatever. And so she's almost 50-50 lab and pit, but she's got about a little bit of boxer and a little bit of staffy in her too. But she's just as sweet as they come. And it's really funny because she is low man on the totem pole. And my other 3, I have a Doxy mix, I have Wawa mix, and I have a full blood Min Pin, but they're all like 1/4 of her size, and they just boss her around, miserably. She is low man on the totem pole, but she's just a really sweet dog. And I just felt like she deserved a better chance.
That's amazing. Is she around at all? Could she come on so I could see her?
But see, I don't know if you can see in those shadows, but can you see hair starting to come back? And Inka, wake up, Inka.
Wow. And you can see that. So was it mostly there on her like legs and stuff?
It's on her legs, and her stomach is coming back. It had no hair, and it was red and hot and full of little bumps, but she's getting hair back. back. And you see, I don't know. So
Amazing.
just that she can enjoy life now and just not be, it's just, you can tell she's enjoying it. I mean, but she's actually more active than that, but apparently it's nap time.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. But thank you so much for showing her to me. I really appreciate it. I think that's all the questions that I had. I'm so appreciative of your time and for you sharing your story and everything. It's amazing. But I guess if you're looking into other products, are there any questions you have that I can answer while we're like on a call?
Your website is really informative and good. It's very easy to use, and I really don't have any questions. It's just a matter of looking through what I think would be the best options for the other three. It navigates really well. I do like your website a lot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to add? Or does that kind of cover it?
Pretty much covers it. Just really grateful. Just we're all sleeping, and that makes so much difference. It's just been amazing. And like I said, I'm telling everybody I know about it and I know a lot. I dog sit and I'm in rescue, and so I'm trying to get the word out down here.
That's incredible. That's so cool. And if you keep talking to your vet too, we actually have a couple of vet exclusive products that we've come out with that have to do with mobility. And so we only sell them to vets. And so if your vet ends up being interested in the brands, have them reach out to us and we'll gladly, connect with them and stuff like that too. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll shoot you an email here within the next couple of hours and stuff. Thank you for your time. It was really a pleasure meeting you.
You too. Thank you so much, Anna.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.